On this Andy's Autosport Manufacturer Spotlight, we're going to talk to you about intercooled centrifugal supercharger kits from Procharger. Procharger is considered one of the best superchargers on the market. They basically pioneered the intercooled centrifugal supercharger. Most of their gear-driven centrifugal superchargers are self-contained, which means you don't have to tap into the oil source or a return line back into the oil pan. They also run a lot cooler and make more power than any of the competitors' centrifugal superchargers. They have tuner kits and complete ready-to-run systems, complete with fuel system upgrades and tuning. They also have carbureted blow-through kits if you have an older muscle car, and all of their kits, unless otherwise noted for the fuel-injected vehicles, are 50-state CARB and EPA legal. All right, once you've ordered your kit from andysautosport.com, it's going to show up from the mailman in a box like this. Let's cut this open and see what's inside. Now, remember, when you get your box, if the seal is broken, make sure you check the contents and make sure everything is in there on the shipping label to make sure that nothing is missing. Now, when you order an EFI system for your late model car or truck from Procharger, it's going to come with everything that you need for a complete installation, including fuel system and some way to reprogram your factory ECU. It's also going to come with every bracket, hose, clamp, and supercharger and intercooler to give you a complete OEM-style installation. Now, they also have another system called a tuner kit. Now, this comes with all the hardware only with no electronics. So you're going to get the brackets, hoses, intercooler, supercharger head unit. But if you've already got an aftermarket EMS and fuel system upgrades, this is a great way to go. Now let's talk about the upgrades you can order with your system. Now, we ordered ours basically as a base kit because we know we're only going to run 8 pounds of boost, and we have no intention of upgrading this at this time from our 8 pounds of boost. So we just stuck with the standard intercooler. However, one of the great upgrades, if you live in a hotter climate or if you're planning on making more boost later, go ahead and spend the extra money now and get the larger intercooler. It's a great time to do it. It's very inexpensive, and this is the perfect time to do it if you expect to make more power later. Another upgrade that you can do is the Helical Gears. Now, the reason you'd want the Helical Gears is it's going to make the supercharger actually a little bit quieter. So instead of having the straight cut gears that are going to be a little whiny and make a little bit of noise, the Helical Gears are significantly quieter. Now, another thing that you can upgrade is the blow-off valve. Again, what comes with the system is perfectly adequate. However, if you plan on upping the boost at a later date, you want to make sure that you have enough blow-off valve to get rid of the extra boost. Now, another place to do some upgrades is in the belt system. Now, some of the kits that you get on the smaller cars might use the factory Serpentine Belt that's on the vehicle now, which means it's probably going to be a 6-rib. Now, those are good to probably 8 to 10 pounds of boost without any problems. Sometimes you can get to 12, but if that belt gets a little bit worn, it's going to slip a little bit and you're not going to get full boost. So then you need to go ahead and upgrade to a 8 or 12-rib Serpentine belt. Now, the Serpentine belts actually have the ridges in the belt run parallel. Now, if you're going to go more boost than that, and you're going to make some real serious power, you need to step into a cog belt, and these teeth are actually perpendicular, and those babies don't slip at all. Now we're going to unbox our Procharger kit for our Project Firebird and show you what came in the box. Procharger does a great job in making sure that they package and ship their equipment so that everything is protected. So basically what you're going to do when you open up the box, just go through everything, lay everything out like this. Now, it comes with instructions. That's what you're going to want to find first. Now, you're going to want to, before you even turn a bolt on your car, even before you pop the hood, read the instructions through from cover to cover. It also has an inventory list of what is in your kit in the instructions. So you're going to want to go through and make sure that you have every package, that everything got shipped before you take your car apart and start to do your installation. Now, this kit comes with everything that you need to perform a basic OEM style installation, which means that when you're done installing this kit, it's going to look like it was installed from the factory. It comes with every hose, every clamp, every bracket, everything you need for a complete install. Now, our kit, we're going to have to relocate a couple of things. It actually comes with all the tubing, hoses, brackets that we need for that as well. It comes with all the discharge tubes, as you can see over here. It also comes with one of the industry's best blow-off valves or compressor bypass valves, certainly for a centrifugal supercharger. It's absolutely top shelf. Comes with all the belts, of course. Ours has an 8-rib belt. That means it does not use the factory pulley that's on there. Some vehicles will actually use the factory Serpentine Belt, as we mentioned before. Ours does not. It comes with the 8-rib pulley that goes on the crankshaft and the spacer, including the bolts, to install it. Also comes with the bracket and the belt tensioner, of course, to bolt your head unit to the cylinder head and block area. It also comes with an FMU. Now, most kits won't come with that. Most vehicles, you're going to use a programmer or reprogram your factory ECU in order to help the fuel enrichment. On our vehicle, since it's a little different and a little older vehicle, we're going to use the FMU. Now, what this does is this stands for Fuel Management Unit, and it adds additional fuel pressure to the injectors as you get higher boost levels. So what it does is, for every 1 pound of boost that the FMU sees, it increases the fuel pressure either 3 or 6 pounds, depending on what the FMU ratio is. Some of them are 3 to 1, some of them are 6 to 1. So that's how that works. And it uses the rest of the factory system, factory injectors. Now, our fuel pump isn't quite strong enough to supply the extra fuel that it needs, so Procharger also includes an external fuel pump complete with wiring. Very simple to wire up. And of course, Procharger, being the one that pioneered intercooled centrifugal superchargers, comes with this great horizontal mount intercooler that mounts under the car. And then, of course, it's got this basically a scoop that scoops up the air and then runs it through the intercooler. Now, another option that you have is on the supercharger head unit. We chose to have ours polished. We also chose helical cut gears. The gears that come from the factory, or the stock gears, are straight cut, and they make a little bit more whining noise than what we wanted, knowing that we're going to daily drive our Firebird. So we chose the helical cut gears. It's a little bit quieter. Also, this is a self-contained unit, which means we do not have to tie into the factory oiling system, so it has its own oil in the system. It's a closed system. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to make sure that you put oil in the system before you start the car. And what you're going to want to do is the first time you're going to run it about 500 miles, then you're going to change the oil. Then you're going to do oil changes every 6,000 miles after that, basically every 2 oil changes. And Procharger sends you enough oil for the first 3 oil changes. Now, because our system has a mass air meter that was not designed to have air blown through it, it's actually designed to draw through, Procharger has what's called a mass air massager. Now, what this does is this basically smooths out the signal to the ECU. What happens is the air rushes by the mass air meter tells the ECU how much air has gone by, and then it compensates with fuel. When you start blowing through those mass air meters, things change. You've got temperature changes, all kinds of things. So this mass massager actually makes a big difference on how the ECU sees the signal coming from the mass air meter, so that you have a nice smooth transition and it works properly. Now, your Procharger kit may look differently than this one does based on what your application is, but this is the basic full system that you'll get from Procharger. As you can see, they take great care to make sure that you have everything you need for a quality installation. Now, Procharger offers 2 different finishes. They offer the satin finish, which is basically what you see here on this bracket, or they offer the polished finish that you can see here on the head unit. Now, they do offer the polishing on everything, on all the components, the brackets and the superchargers. We left this like satin so that you could see what it looks like in satin, and then had the head unit polished so you could see that. Now, it doesn't make any difference in performance whatsoever. But if you are going to plan on having your hood up on a regular basis at car shows and things like that, the polished unit's definitely the way to go. Now, depending on your application, you may see several different systems for your particular vehicle. Now, in our case, we had a P1SC or a D1SC option, and we chose the P1SC because we know that our vehicle is bone stock and probably not ever going to get many more modifications than just the supercharger itself. So the P1SC, which is the base unit, and 8 PSI is going to be great. Now, if we were going to plan on doing some other things later, we may choose a different head unit. So the most important thing to remember is make sure that you know what your end results or your end goals are, and then size your supercharger head unit accordingly. This is going to save you a lot of money down the road for just a few $100s up front. All right, now we're going to show you how to read the chart to help you choose the best supercharger for your application. Now, in our case, once again, we're using the P1SC, which is the base unit. Now, you can see that it's capable of 825 horsepower. On the third line down, it tells you where the engine needs to be naturally aspirated in order for the supercharger to support that particular engine. So our engine level needs to be between 200 and 500 horsepower, which of course we're right there in the middle, probably around 300, 325 on our Project Firebird is where we're going to baseline this. That's at the flywheel. Now let's say you're going to do a brand new 5.0 Mustang and you're looking at 1,000 horsepower. Well, that P1SC is not going to be the right unit for you, so you might have to look at, say, an F1. You look over here at the F1. Now it's capable of producing 1,050 horsepower, and the base horsepower of your engine needs to be between 300 and 500 horsepower. And of course we know that the base 5.0 is around 400 and 450 horsepower from the factory. So this supercharger is going to be perfect for that particular application. So basically all you need to do is look at the chart, see what the base horsepower on your engine is, find out the amount of horsepower that you want, and chances are Procharger has a system that's been designed and engineered for your particular application. So whether you already have a standalone engine management system and fuel system upgrades and just need a tuner kit, or you want a full-on system like we've ordered for our Project Firebird, chances are Procharger's engineered a system right for you. If you have any questions, feel free to call one of our knowledgeable sales staff at 1-800-419-1152 or email us at info@andysautosport.com. And once you get your Procharger installed, make sure you send pictures to customer.rides@andysautosport.com. We may feature your vehicle on our Facebook page. We hope you've learned something today, and we'll see you on another Andy's Autosport Manufacturer Spotlight.